Welcome back, guys. I thought in this video, since I didn't shoot any video or vlogs over in Scotland, I thought I would go over a couple of photos that I took over there and you know, talk about the challenges of each of them and you know, talk about the trip a little bit. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's look at a couple. So this first one, the Falls of Orchy, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. My apologies to the Scottish people if I just slaughter the pronunciation of these locations. So when we first showed up here, there were a couple issues going on to get the photo that we wanted. One, the amount of water that was flowing through the falls that day was astronomical. I've never seen photos of it this high. And it was pouring rain, and it was just, you have to go over these rocks to get near to the river and the falls, and they were like ice. It was like skating to get over there, and one slip and you were done for. I mean, it was just so torrential. You're not surviving it. You were just going to get just slaughtered if you fell into this. So that was one issue, the amount of water. And the other thing that the amount of water does is it creates these, the water level comes up really high. So the drop of the falls is not as far as it would normally be. So that made issue too. So I knew I had to capture this in a unique way that I haven't seen before, and that was my goal. The other thing is so much water, and the river was flowing over its banks, so it was bringing a ton of silt. I knew right out of the gate that this is going to have to be a black and white image because the white water was being discolored, and it was just this yellow brown instead of like pure white that you would like in a waterfall photo. So it was, I don't want that in my photo. I want this to be a black and white. So right away that was my solution. And then the tricky spot was I wanted to find a composition that had nice leading lines into the shot. But I really needed to address the shutter speed. I did not want, really, I mean, I was dragging my shutter, and I did not want it to be overly soft. I wanted just enough. If you get just enough blur, it actually enhances the power of water and the movement. If you blur too much, it gets soft and tranquil. If you freeze it, you can't really tell how much. I mean, it's hard to tell how much if you just freeze every dot of water. So it was really finding the sweet spot for the exposure time. And for me, I think what we settled on for this one was 1/10 of a second. Gave me kind of like all the movement and drama, but also otherworldly because it's being blurred out a little bit. Being that we were in the middle of a rainstorm, I wasn't thrilled with the definition in the sky. There is a little, but I would have liked more. But anyway, it was scary as hell standing on the side of that because again, you know, it's not just standing on the side of of torrential rapids. It's standing on the side of it on slick as ice rocks that were overflowed, and the moss it was just super sketchy. And it just felt like I was just constantly being like pulled into the river. Good thing there was no accidents, and you know, we were able to walk away from it, and I'm very happy with the photo I got. And yeah, I'll also show you well, if I probably showed it to you already, the color photo, so you could see the discoloration from all the silt in the water. All right, the Glencoe Storm. This is one of those photos where you're driving through this beautiful location, and you know, you're talking and everything, and then all of a sudden you look out the window and you just yell to the driver, "Stop! Oh my God!" Yeah, this was one of those situations. When I was studying photography for this trip to Scotland, there was one word that I kept reiterating to myself on the type of photos I wanted, and that was dramatic. Dramatic skies. There's something, you know, the photographers that I've seen going over to Scotland, they just get these just very foreboding skies, which is interesting because they seem to be dark and stormy, yet they have so much detail in them. Where over here in New England, it's very common. New England, it's very common to we get gray skies, but they're just lack definition. They're just kind of flat and gray and murky. We do get our, you know, our time. It's just that's our common stormy sky. So this one, you know, we're driving down the road, and I yell to Frank, like, "Stop the car," because coming up the valley, this is in Glencoe, was this storm, and you could just see how everything was layered, and you have this mountain that is backlit, and the storm that is backlit, yet there's these dark clouds over, and you can kind of see the valley over here, and then you have a foreground valley and a foreground meadow. I don't know what they call that in Scotland. I'm sure they've got some word that makes it sound really cool. But there was just all this layering, and the light was perfect, and it was hop out of the car and snap the frickin' picture. You know, it was I don't even think I set up my tripod for this. I think I jumped out and knew that the storm was coming so quickly I wasn't going to have a lot of time to set up or execute on this. So I leaned towards a faster shutter speed. I could look it up. I don't remember what it was, but something that I could handhold. Also, it was shot with a compressed lens, 70 to, or a lens with compression. It was a 70 to 200, and I framed in the mountain and fired away. Really happy about that, and hope I didn't scare everyone in the car. Castle Stalker. Now, doesn't that just sound like the coolest castle ever? Oh my God. Beautiful location. This is one of those locations that's been shot a million times. So my goal was to come up with a unique composition for it. And to do this, I kind of I had this process where I kind of walked up and down the beach until I could kind of figure out what I wanted to do here. First thing I knew is I wanted to compress it. So I chose a 70-200 lens because I wanted it close to the mountains. That was the compression I was looking for at first. The trick with Castle Stalker is it is a rectangle. Its silhouette is a rectangle. So I was thinking about that, like, well, okay, what do I do with a rectangle? You know, there's other castles that have like these jaggedy walls and part falling down and it's ruins, and this is pretty much a rectangle. So first thing was, okay, well, if it's a rectangle, it might be really cool to incorporate its reflection. To do that, I knew I wanted to really drag the shutter. So I got a really nice reflection on the water. I did that. It was about it was a 30-second exposure, so we got the nice reflection. But that wasn't enough. So again, I really took my time with this, and back up and down the beach, and what I realized was I wanted to add to the look of the compression. And if I went up the beach and kind of around the bend a little bit, I found these rocks that were jutting out of the water. So what I did was I placed the reflection right between the rocks. And my rule of thumb is when I have something that's super symmetrical like this, I'm going with a square crop. It just feels balanced and whatnot. So these rocks really determined what my crop was right there on the spot. But yeah, it turned out to be a great photo, and I think I got a unique composition from, I'm sure somebody else has taken the same photo, but I felt like I really went through the thought process and came up with something pretty unique. Oh, and the sky was pretty tremendous too. It was beautiful. What a day to shoot a castle stalker. The Sligachin Old Bridge. Again, I'm probably just slaughtering the pronunciation. Sligachin, Slegahan. Anyway, this is a really popular place too. Tourist attraction, I guess you would say. So the key to this shot was, one, it was raining out, so that thinned out the crowds dramatically, which was nice. What was really helpful was there was a pub right next door, like across the street. So people would run into the pub and and free up a lot of the walkways and stuff when the rain started to come in. Yeah, this was really about finding a composition that didn't have people in it, was a pleasing composition, and basically waiting for the light. This particular day, the light was changing dramatically, changing fast. So I had a lot of opportunity. I did bounce around and try a bunch of different compositions, but this was the one that I really liked, and I think I settled on a 1/6 of a second exposure time. It gave me a nice texture in the water and blurred out any people that might be moving across the bridge. Again, crowded location, tourist spot, but hey, you gotta take those shots. I'm happy to take them every day of the week. But yeah, that's the Sligachin Old Bridge. All right, well, I tried to pick some unique photos from our trip to Scotland. Ones with unique challenges to share with you guys and kind of talk about. If you want to see more work from Scotland, more of the photos, check out my Instagram, which is at InBetweenStops. And yeah, until next time, don't drag your ass, drag your shutter.